What's up, peeps? It's the kid L.R.Player here, back coming back to you for you with another podcast episode from the Jump Rope community where I interview our friends, your friends, our peeps, and this just an opportunity for us together just to get to know each other. And today I have the lovely and talented Mona.Jumps, which she's hails from Canada. Am I correct?
Yes, close to
How you,
Toronto.
Toronto? Are you a
Yeah, close to
Raptors
Toronto.
fan?
I can't say that I am, honestly. I would be lying. I mean, I like watching games live, but yeah, not a huge basketball fan.
No. How you feeling this way?
Honestly, I'm amazed by like their talent, of course, especially live. But you will never watch me watching a Raptors game like at home or anything. Yeah,
Mona
but you
jumps.
never know. If someone else, yeah.
So if anybody ever saw any of your content like in the past, they will see like you one of like the princesses of double unders and double under combinations and like some trickery rap combination that you do. Tell us about your jump rope journey. Matter of fact, tell us
Oh,
about your
thank you. I
jump
think
rope
you're
origin.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I was one of, well, first of all, I think you're the double under king. Like when I look at your double unders, I'm like, how does he make that look so easy? Like people tell me that about mine, but I'm honestly like, I'm not even lying. I still struggle so much with them, even though it looks like good on camera, they're still like so hard. But yeah, like my journey started in COVID, like kind of like everyone else.
Right.
I think I saw I think her username was like Soph Skips. I don't even know if she's around anymore, but I was like, holy, she was doing double unders too. And I was just amazed at just like the endurance and the skill. And I was like, I want to learn that. And then when I was like, kind of like, I just kind of started doing like basic jumping in my garage. And when you start to like kind of learn the simple tricks, you're like, oh my God, if I can learn that this quickly, like what else can I learn, so it just kind of became like a hobby. That was back in August of 2020. Yeah, and then it just like kind of became my go-to form of exercise.
Um,
Yeah.
how like how did you find it like in the beginning? Like, did you feel like you wasn't no good at it like the rest of us? Did you feel like awkward or like what
Yeah,
like
100%.
100%?
100%. I mean, like, especially because when you see people who are like really good, you're like, why do I suck? Right? Like, why is this so hard? Why am I tripping so much? And what you don't realize at the time when you're a beginner is like they've been doing that for like hours on end, and probably for like months or years. And I think like that's actually one of like the biggest lessons learned from like jumping, right? Is like in the beginning, you just have to kind of realize it's going to take effort and practice, and nobody's like amazing at something like right when you start, because I feel like I was definitely super hard on myself when I was like, when certain tricks were like taking longer than I thought they should take, right? But
Right.
there isn't like a right time that it takes you to learn a skill. Like it's just like eventually it clicks in your brain, and so you just kind of have to like be like, yeah, I'm gonna get this eventually, and I might trip a billion times before then, but it is what it is. That's the process.
Is there any trick currently that you still struggling with?
Honestly, I haven't been jumping as much lately, but the one trick, okay, so like I had the double under switch cross was one that I really wanted to learn, and I was just struggling like so much with it. And I like since I stopped jumping as much recently. That's
Right.
the one that I like haven't mastered, because I was like trying over and over again, and I was like just tripping so much that I kind of was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, I don't really want to be like whipping myself, but I love that trick. I think it's so cool. I wish I could learn it. I mean, I could learn it if I like got back into it, but yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I do that particular trick too much.
Yeah, you make it look so easy. Like, what are your tips for us on how to make that better?
Um, I kind of like two things I would say is as far as like trying to go into the second cross is like try to keep the space in your arms together like this distance. Like when you cross and when you uncross instead of uncrossing wide, you kind of like want to keep this distance. And
Right.
I notice a lot of people they'll cross, uncross, and try to cross again. So it's kind of like like a I don't know kung fu chop or something like that. So I try to like do like a figure. I try to do like a figure eight. So it's kind of like I
Okay.
cross, uncross up, and cross back down. So that's like my two
Yeah.
tips that
I
I
think I
would
was
do.
probably doing the kung fu thing for
The
sure
kung
because I
fu
don't think
chops.
yeah because I don't think that I ever visualized it as a figure eight. So I might have to try that just to see if
What?
you're
Yeah, that's come from trying to learn the switch cross continuously as a run, like trying to string like three or four in a row. So at first I used to do the little kung fu chops, and I always just like jam up on the third one because I couldn't mentally coordinate my arms to do it smoothly until like I had to like slow
yeah
down and learn that it was like a figure eight motion. But after
yeah
that,
it takes a lot of
it was
yeah
game
it takes
over.
like a lot of messing up before you learn. So how long did it take you to learn that? I know I'm asking you questions now, but I'm just like
And I
curious.
forgot to tell you. I forgot to tell you in the beginning. Feel free to ask me anything, so it won't be like a one way conversation. Um,
Yeah.
the first time I tried to learn it, I tried to learn it for like maybe like 3 days, and I couldn't get my non-dominant hand to function correctly, properly, like
Yeah.
my dominant hand was. So I kind of like stopped because I realized when I tried to switch, and then when I crossed, and then when I was trying to uncross and switch, I kind of do like a side swing into, and it just looked funny. And then maybe like 2 weeks later, I was kind of like practicing in the living room, just not jumping, just having the rope flicking around me, and just trying to like stall it over my head and do the switch. And I was like, holy crap! And so I was like, hold up, man, let me go outside right quick. So I tried to do it, jammed up, and I was like, hold up, what did I do wrong? And then like I just repeat the step over again, just walk myself through it, cross, kind of stall the rope above me, switch, and cross again. I was like, all right. So once I did it fast and I cleared it, I was like, oh, it's game over. And then after that, Toner, because everybody know Toner is like the king of switch crosses right
Of
now.
course.
So when he did it in the double underform, I was like, man, I got to go for it. I got to go for it. So I went for it, and maybe like the first three tries, I got it, and I was like, oh yeah, this game over. But funny, I learned the switch cross faster than I learned like the cross open double under because I always used to get jammed up trying to do it consistently,
Interesting.
consecutively.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love
What's
the
that?
fact that you brought your rope inside and we're just like practicing like the most like basic part of the trick without jumping, you know? It's those little
That
things that makes such a big difference.
that's actually the key how I unlock a lot of things as fast as I do is because I just be
Really?
inside, not jumping, and just learning how to do a move and try to stall the rope and trying to
Yeah.
I don't know like the toad. I did the toad inside the TS. I learned the TS doing it as a EB swing and get the other hand back around me to get the loop on my head. Like a lot of things I learned this side, not jumping, just walking and pacing through it.
Yeah, that's so good because like your brain doesn't even know like a simple thing of like moving your arm in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so hard to your brain, right? So when
Right.
you try to do it like all at once, it's just like it's super frustrating, which is like such a good lesson to just break it down at like the simplest like form, like the simplest step. You're like motivating me to try and go like try to do this again.
Believe me,
Because
like
honestly,
once you, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, because I was gonna say that that trick like is definitely just so hard that you're like, oh my god, I feel like I'm never gonna get this. But yeah, I might have to
It do
try
be
it out
like the
again.
simplest things, the simplest things, just breaking things down from detail to detail. And like once you it click, it just really gonna click. Instead of like, okay, I'm gonna learn this trick and
Yeah,
I'm gonna go outside and try to jump, and just getting frustrated and putting it to the side for like weeks on end until somebody you ask for help or somebody um offer help. Like I do that a lot too. Like
mhm,
sometimes I see people do something and I message them like, "Hey, do you mind I drop you a tip or two?" And most likely they'll say, "Yeah, yes," and so I drop them a tip. So I think that's something that I like doing on the side instead of like
yeah,
telling people like, "Hey, you doing it wrong," or "You should do it like this." And I
yeah,
think, and that's also the best thing is seeing somebody unlock um, skills and
yeah.
tricks when they struggling.
Then you know what?
Do you,
I want to. Oh, sorry.
go
I
ahead.
think there's a
Go
bit
ahead.
of legs. So sometimes there's a bit of a lag, so I feel like I might cut you off, but I'm not. It's because the thing is lagging. But no,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's something I've observed about you that I think is so admirable. Like you're so involved in the community and you genuinely like help everyone, and your comments are just like the best. Like every time I read your comments, like honestly, and you're just so helpful. Like you're super helpful. So yeah, I
I
think that's
appreciate
awesome. The
that.
community needs it. Yeah.
I honestly don't know where them
Great.
comments be coming from.
I
They
mean, you're
just
just witty. You're
it just
you're
pop
witty,
up.
right? Yeah. Maybe you watch a lot of like funny, witty movies or something that are just like all the lines are stored in your brain.
Yeah, but right now I can't think of anything. I'm just total blank right now. But as soon as I see something, it's
That's
just
funny.
like so.
Yeah.
What's your? So you said you haven't been jumping this much as much lately. What's your current state of training or exercise or
Yeah.
anything?
I mean, already, like I kind of took a break off Instagram and I was dealing with health issues, like specifically, like I have MS. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I actually was diagnosed with MS like very early on in my jump rope journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so, at the time, that was like, I think I started in August, and the symptom that I had that made me go to the doctor, which by the way was like my leg. I woke up randomly and my leg was like not functioning properly. Like it was like really weak. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
super active, right? And so like I was like, what is going on? Like I couldn't jump rope because I was like my leg was like I couldn't jump. And so I was like, anyway, long story short, my leg came back to normal and
Right.
I started jumping and I continued jumping normally and everything was like fine. And I actually trained like super often. Like, I don't know, like I probably jumped every day for like quite a long time.
Right.
But then, I took a break, like I think like 8 months ago or so, when I was like, hey, I need to just kind of focus on like what feels good to my body. And like
Mm-hmm.
I really kind of just put an emphasis on like healing like everything about myself, like my body, and my mind mostly, and like just like spiritually. But when it came to exercise, I was like, jump rope is just, it's feeling really hard on my body lately, like at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, just not enjoying it as much. And so I kind of like slowed down. So now when I jump rope, it's kind of like I have like a bunch of like weighted ropes, or I'll like, after a walk, like I walk a lot now and I do a lot of yoga, and just like kind of body weight training, like push-ups, and I'm trying to work towards a pull-up, and like, a lot of core work. Like it's more like that kind of stuff that I'm into now. But in terms of jump rope, like there's like very random times if I come back from like a walk or something, then I just grab a rope and like I do, a couple mic releases, or like just jump for like 5-10 minutes kind of thing. But I haven't really been trying to learn any new skills. It's just kind of like
Right.
whenever I feel like it, I jump rope. Yeah. So
So you risk. So since
mhm.
you back to the state where you can jump rope, you haven't really been pushing the envelope as far as like
Yeah,
doing any high intensity workout.
yeah.
So
Like I sorry. No, I was gonna say I do like, I will do double unders like here and there, but I won't, like before I was doing like an hour, maybe more than an hour of like training, double unders. But now it's just more like I'll do like, 10, 20, and then I'll just like move on to my other stuff.
all right.
Yeah.
Um, could you describe or explain to uh, us what is MS?
Yeah, for sure. So MS is when your immune system. So okay, hold on, let me back up a sec. All your nerves have something called myelin that protect the nerve, right? And so that allows a communication between your brain and other parts of your body. And so what MS does is the immune system attacks the myelin sheath that's covering your nerves. So what that means is that eventually those like lesions, they call them lesions when
Mm-hmm.
the attack happens to your myelin, eventually that lesion could impact the communication between your brain and the rest of your body. So that means that you could have issues with mobility, you could have issues with speech, you could have issues with your memory, like normal basic bodily functions, like you could have issues with. Um, or yeah, so that's at a high level, like what it is. And they say it's a progressive disease, meaning a lot of people do get worse with time.
Right.
Um, if you keep on accumulating those lesions, yeah.
Right. Right. Um, so in your case, because you said it was your legs, so it was more like a mobility, being active type um, situation with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's, it's a weird disease, right? Because you know it first of all, it did affect my, it was like pretty much like mid torso down the rest of my leg, where
Mm-hmm.
like, I couldn't feel any heat. Um, like I could walk and everything. Like on the outside, nobody could notice that,
Right.
there's something wrong with me, but it was like really weak. But what's interesting about it is that just because that happened, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that it's going to happen again. Like next time, and hopefully there is no next time. That's what I'm
Right.
praying for, right? But um, next time it could be a completely different issue. It could be that like I lose my eyesight. It
Right.
could be that my arm is weak. So yeah, that was my issue the first time, but yeah.
So, during your break off social media and dealing with that, um, what did you do mentally to like keep your mental strong during that process when you was taking that break and dealing with that issue? Just
Yeah.
just trying to keep your spirit high. Like, what was you doing mentally
Yeah.
during that time?
Well, I was in therapy honestly for like I've been in therapy for like a year, over a year now. Um, but that was like really crucial. Because aside from having like MS,
Mm-hmm.
um, I actually don't think that that's the main issue, right? The main issue, I think, like for me and a lot of other people, is like when you're like super like negative, or you're super critical about yourself, or you have
Right.
like really unrealistic expectations for yourself. And then it creates all this like pressure. And so for me, like therapy was like really helpful in kind of um just getting to the root of a lot of those things that I was dealing with, and like reframing how I was thinking, which took like a lot of stress off
Right.
of me like mentally. And then like my I just tried to like get really attuned with like my body and my mind, and try to like shut out like external things, like the shoulds of life. I was like,
Right.
what do I want to do? Like, what makes me feel good? Like, what do I, like just almost like getting to know and love myself. So that was like the other thing. And like the last thing for me that was huge was like my faith. So I'm very spiritual. So I just try to like connect with that, and just kind of like have trust in like God's plan and stuff like that. And yeah, I could go on forever about this because it's like something I'm like passionate about. But
No, that
at
is
a
beautiful.
level,
That is
yeah.
beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Um, what I was gonna say. So, because I'm gonna get back to that part. So you mentioned yoga, right? You've been how long have you been doing yoga?
Well, I've had like an on and off relationship with yoga. Like I did yoga like many, many years ago, and then I stopped. But since I started getting back into it now, um, wow, I see. That's the thing. I don't even like. It's been months now. Like I honestly can't tell you how long, but maybe like four. I've probably been like 4 or 5 months. Maybe I've gotten back into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And how's have that helped with like your situation and you getting um back to your mobility health? Because when you
Yeah.
mentioned that, I was like, okay, yoga and the situation you in, that sound like that will help tremendously.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Like on so many levels. Yoga is amazing because so with MS, it can affect your balance.
Mm-hmm.
And so yoga like not only like strengthens like your muscles in like really great ways. Like my core is much stronger. Like um I'm way stronger. Like my arms are much stronger, and like so just and like pain in my body, like muscular pain and joint pain, like
Mm-hmm.
is way less from doing yoga. And also like it challenges your brain and your balance, which for me is super important. Like having MS, I try to challenge my brain and the things that you know I guess I'm more prone to having difficulty with. Um, and I feel like yoga just helps in that way. And it's like jump rope in the sense that like things look impossible at first, but like the more you practice, it just gets like easier. And mentally, like it teaches you to like breathe and like connect with your body, and like all of these great mental benefits too. So yeah.
I like that. So lately, I ain't gonna say you had a change of direction. I feel like this was something that was already in you, but lately, when you post things on your Instagram, you post more spiritual. Not, I'm sorry, more inspirational things, more inspirational content lately. I
Mhm.
feel like you could be a inspirational speaker. Like you might. I
Aw,
feel like that can be in your future. Um, I ain't gonna say this a new change, but explain that part of you now, from your
yeah.
recent content. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. That's such a compliment. I appreciate that. But yeah, so where that's coming from is that, I've struggled with so many things in my life. Like it's like crazy, but like a lot of things. I guess one of the main things that I struggled with was like anxiety. Um, and I personally believe that that was the reason, one of the major reasons that led to like being diagnosed with MS, is because I was just like in a constant state of stress. And like
Mm-hmm.
for anyone like who has anxiety, I don't know if you've ever dealt with it, but often like you feel like it's your own fault. And you feel like you're alone in that. And so you just end up like dealing it with it by yourself, and trying to figure out like all these ways to like deal with your anxiety and feel better. And so I feel like I've come like such a long way in dealing with my own issues that I just feel like I feel like there's so much I want to share with anyone else who is experiencing the same thing, because we often think that um, the solution is like out there, like, like we need to do this, we need to buy this, we need to get this, we need to look this way, we need to do all of these things before like we feel good. And like what I've learned through my journey is that actually everything you need to feel good is actually inside you. And so I can't keep that to myself anymore. And like I've wanted to share that for so long because it's been, you know, just I guess a deep pain of mine. And so I just hope that like it helps other people. That's kind of where I stand. And like the motivation behind it. Yeah.
I hope you keep continuing to do that. I would like for you to continue to do that.
Well, thank you. I mean, I guess just pray for me that I don't give up. But I feel super motivated. Like I don't know. I've struggled with like finding, I guess you would say, my purpose in life, and
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like super like passionate about what I'm doing right now. So I hope I keep doing it too.
Right. Do you write?
No, I don't. Like I journal, but I don't write. That's
Oh,
actually, yeah, yeah. I don't write like articles or anything like that.
well, no, no. That's what I meant. Like journaling, writing down your feelings, getting it off your chest, out your mind. Let the
Yeah.
book absorb it. This is a
Journaling is, if you don't journal, you need to journal. Okay? Because if honestly, I always think about this, is so weird, but um if somebody found my journals, they would be
mm-hmm.
like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that like that's Mona." Like, holy crap. Like
Right.
there's so much, like my whole life is in my journal, honestly. And so I just feel like often when you're dealing with something, you like overthink it like 1,700 times. And there's a lot of things like you don't want to say to other people. And so when you write it down, it just like takes an emotional like burden off your back. That's like the greatest benefit I've like experienced. Yeah.
I
Do you
I
journal?
have I have tried. I have tried, and I got like plenty of notebooks around here that's kind of empty. But I my thoughts are all over the place, and
Hmm.
I looked at a couple of videos on like how to journal, and it's almost like there's no right or wrong way to journal. I learned that part, but it's never like I can't get it consistent enough because my mind is like all over the place. I'm thinking about ideas. I'm thinking about how I'm feeling. I'm thinking about things in the past like that I shouldn't or should have done, and maybe felt like some regret, which we shouldn't feel regret or have regret, but it it's just like a personal self-critic of mine that some things I kind of regret. So it's kind of hard to like
Yeah.
keep my journal one way because there's so many things in my head that it's
Yeah.
almost
Actually, I
impossible to
think that's
jot down.
very beautiful.
Say it again.
Yeah, I feel like Sorry, it cut out again. But no, I think that's really beautiful, first of all, that you're aware that, where your thoughts are, and the fact that they do change, right? And I feel like that's such a like normal human experience, right? And I think that like journaling is so beautiful because it doesn't need to look a certain way, and I did that
Right.
too in the beginning, where I was like, all right, I need to make sense of everything. Like I need to, like, I can't like write about, why I'm sad and then also write about this. Like that was kind of how I thought of it as well. But what I realized is when you like take away like the fact that, it's supposed to make sense, and you just like write like whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
let's say you're like, I like cookies, and then like the next second you're like, today sucked, like whatever. Who cares? Just like
Right.
just write it, and like that's it, and then you just like move on. And I feel like, man, things are just so much easier when we don't like expect things to just like be one way, and in terms of like the consistency and even like the amount of time, I'm not even kidding. What Sometimes I write one word, not one word, that's exaggerating, like maybe like one sentence, like maybe like one sentence, and then um other times I'll write like 5 pages, and then there's like some days I don't write at all, and I think like that's fine. It's like just do what you can when you want, and it all like matters and it all helps. And I feel like putting your notebook too, like by wherever you hang out, like maybe that's like your bed or your couch or your office or whatever, is like a good
Mm-hmm.
mental like reminder. Because and then it just kind of naturally be like, oh, okay, my journal, I should probably use that.
I'm gonna take that to note. I'm gonna take that to note. Um,
Okay,
this is
let me know how
beautiful. I
that
like
works
this.
for you.
I will. I will definitely keep in touch with you and let you know about that. Tell us about now. Now, tell us about your currently daily routine, morning, night rituals, or
Yeah,
something. Like, what
yeah.
is it? Has it changed from what definitely changed now from back then? But is there like anything that you do major differently now with your daily routine?
Yeah, a lot has changed actually. So I mean, I would say like, so it's so interesting because in Ramadan, in Ramadan, like Muslims fast all day, like from sunrise
Right.
to sunset, right? And I, because of my health issues, like have struggled a lot to fast. And so what happened this year is like I just like couldn't do it. Like, and I was like, this is not good for me. And so I couldn't fast. And so I started, I was like, how can I make up for that, I guess, spiritually? And so, that meant I was like, okay, I need to start like daily routines that will help me like stay connected to God and everything, because that was like really important to me. So anyway, like my morning routine now, like since then, so that was like, when was that? March. Um since then, I kind of like my morning, I like to start it with like spiritual stuff, so like reading the Quran a little bit. And again, I don't have like, I'm gonna read Quran for 10 minutes. It's like it could be like 1 minute. I just want it in my day. And so like I read that, and then I kind of do like a little bit of prayers. And then typically I will do some kind of movement, whether that's like a walk outside or like some stretching or some yoga. Um, and then like I go about my day. Like I work a 9 to 5 job. Um, and then yeah, like lately, I've been doing oh, and then also like I'm very go with the flow kind of person now, like I have like
Right.
I go when I get home from like my walks, and I don't have like a dedicated thing. Like I'm not like I'm going for a walk 10 times this week, like it's just like I can go on walks multiple times a day. Sometimes they're 10 minutes, sometimes they're 20 minutes, sometimes they're 30 minutes. But it's like, you know, I just kind of like try to move as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then my evenings, so yeah, after that, it's just kind of like whatever side projects, family stuff I do. I try to like put more effort into service too, like servicing other people,
Right.
like my family or like society in general. And then like evening routine is I don't know, like I like to read and journal before bed. I try to get off my phone like an hour before bed and like read or journal or well really those two things.
Right.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that was all over the place, but that's kind of like yeah, I don't really have a structured routine.
No, like no, not really all over the place, but what I really just learned now, like you haven't put like a time limit on nothing that you do. Basically, you just want to make sure that you get either a little bit of all that into your day, and like
Yeah.
sometimes probably sporadic, like you just say you write one sentence, and then the next thing you write a letter to the to the president. um, and that's something I think a lot of us that's something I think a lot of us can take from that, because that's still showing some form of consistency. Like, you know, I did an episode with Andrea.Jumps, and she was like, she used to be like an all or nothing person. Like, she gonna go to the gym and get her hour in. So now she was said like, if she can get 10 minutes in, then that's the 10 minutes she gonna get in, because and she still made it worse. So that's something like I kind of compare y'all to with, which is a good thing, because it's like you're not really just hone in or getting a certain amount of time into like one activity or one event. Is like, as long as you
Yeah.
get a little bit in, and it's almost like, well, I'm satisfied because at least I did it and not done nothing at all.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. It's like if you set the bar like up here
mm-hmm,
every day, right? But like you didn't sleep the night before, or like, you know, you had like this like huge catastrophe that happened in your day,
right,
but your bar is like up here. Like, of course, you're going to feel terrible when you don't do the thing that you said that you're going to do, right? So I feel like it's
right,
like, it's interesting because it's like the whole all or nothing thinking is like I think very common, and it's also just like very easy to do. I'm not exactly sure like why like a lot of us are that way, but it just creates so much confidence when you're like it's not like you're going to set the bar here and be like I don't have any goals. It's like no, like your goal is still like, you know, for me right now, it's like I'd like to do be able to do a pull up, right?
right,
And so I try to do like a little bit every day that's going to help me get there, but I'm not going to say like I'm going to do 17 sets of this this week and like 17 sets of that next week. It's like what's your what is your goal? Is it to, you know, do the thing, or is it to just like feel good in general and move and have like growth? Because then if that's your goal is just growth in general, then there's no time limit, there's no rush. Like why do you
right.
need to do it next week? Yeah.
I like that.
So
I like that. Do you have anything for me?
oh, you cut out, but I think you were asking if I have
Uh,
anything
uh,
to
d-
ask, right?
yeah.
Okay. What are you focusing on right now? Like where are you at right now? Because this is like first of all, I think it's like amazing that you're doing a podcast because you're also like putting yourself out there and talking to so many people. And like
R-
tell me a little bit about like how that's been. Like what mentality, I guess like what mindset were you in when you decided to make that choice? And how's it been?
ooh, ooh. I think you need to be a podcast host. Good question. So, so the idea of me doing a podcast, um, I think it came from the community. Like, a lot of my peers, like along the way, some form of way along the way, like a lot of my peers became coaches. They started their own rope brand. They got their own apparel. A lot of them had sponsorship. So at one point, I definitely felt left out because I used to think about like the talent I have and I have like developed, and I kind of compare it to other people' talent. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of like hold up how
Mhm.
they like got this opportunity, but I'm not getting recognized for my talent. Um, so I had to get myself out that mindset. So, and then at the same time, I got inspired by my peers because they got rope brands, they got apparels, they are coaches, and so I kind of did want to do like maybe like the apparel part, or kind of wanted to do the coaches part, but I felt like by the time I wanted to do it, the game had shifted from like doing double under combinations to like make releases and shuffle. So there was nothing wrong with that. So I was like, okay, what can I do different? And so it took me a long time to think like what can I bring to the community that's different. And I think I was listening to Nate KG podcast, right?
Mhm.
And he had an episode where he was talking about versatility. And I was like, okay, that's kind of sound like me because I'm versatile as far as like I could pick up any rope and do whatever I need to do because that rope is designed to do a certain particular type of style. And so I was
Mhm.
like, okay, so I kept listening to him. I was like, hold up, man, this guy got a podcast. So and then Rush got a podcast, Born to Fly. And instead of like he don't always talk about jump rope on his podcast, but it was based from the jump rope community, or how it stemmed from the jump rope to that. Um, so I was like, I don't know, maybe I can do that, right? Because there's not a lot of people doing podcasts in the jump rope community. There have been some I can name on one hand. So I was like, maybe I can do this, right? So so with that, it challenged me to put myself out there. It challenged me to be more vocal. It kind of challenged me to practice uh, is either pronunciate or enunciate words better because I'm from the southern states of the United States. So we kind of talk slow and talk with a different type of lingo. And I am an introvert. Like you probably never really heard me talk much on my Instagram page or on my stories or anything like that. Maybe voiceovers, but um, so that was a good challenge for me, right?
Yeah.
And and I just felt like this probably like something I felt like the community need for us to properly get to know each other. Cause like how much of yourself can you put on your content, right?
Yeah,
On your profile,
exactly.
and you like still trying to do jump rope moves and still trying to you want to put bits and pieces of yourself, like maybe you like to cook or maybe you like to sew things, but you kind of don't want to put all that on your jump rope account. And then again, you might have a main account, but you don't want all your jump rope friends on your main account because now you kind of like doubling the
Yeah.
two, and you got yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna give this a try. So I researched, I purchased like a budget podcast setup, and it's pretty much budget right now. I got a few upgrades, and then it just also practice helped me just be open. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
people want to know about me, and so it kind of put myself out there. And honestly, it been fun. It's continued to be fun doing this podcast thing. I could tell you like
Yeah.
maybe like my first maybe 5, 6, 7 episodes interviews, like I was nervous, like I was like shaking, like I was shaking inside because I was like, man, I know I'm about to mess up, and I had to put a system within myself, like, okay, I'm gonna take a couple of minutes before I hit record, just to you know what I'm saying, get the sweats out and just chat with my guests, so I won't be
Yeah.
as nervous. And then, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with it now. Like I'm not nowhere near as nervous or as anxious, or just feel like I'm gonna mess up and stutter over words.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stutter over words. I'm not gonna say words correctly, and I just realized it's just being authentic. There's no script. There's nothing that I'll recite or try to remember. And yeah, I think that's where is it with me right now.
Wow.
Good
That is
question.
wow. You just said so many like amazing things, honestly. Because, well, like first of all, I feel like your accent, I love it. I'm not sure where are you from in the
So
US?
I was born in Louisiana. Um,
Okay.
that's like,
Yeah, because
yeah,
like
that's in the southern.
well, like I'll pretend like I know where that is. I know what Louisiana is, obviously, but on the map, zero idea. But
Oh, well, it's at the bottom of the United States. In
yeah,
the is
that
yeah.
I do know. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's awesome, and I like love hearing it. Like because anytime anyone has any kind of accent, I'm like it's awesome. But I love from what you said that like first of all like you knew inside of you that like there was a potential for you to do something, which by the way, even if there's like 100 coaches out there doing double under coaching, like there's
Hmm.
a different way that like you would teach double unders that would like impact and help other people. So I feel like that's something that stops a lot of people from going out and doing something is like, you know, there's already this person doing this, like, like I'm not going to go and do it, but the reality is like you, Larry, have something very specific about you, that other people would resonate with more than like,
Hmm.
so and so who's teaching it, right?
Right.
But I love that like you like acknowledged within yourself like I'm capable of more, and then actually acted on it regardless of the fact that you felt nervous, right? And I think that is like literally the key because nobody gets anywhere doing anything without feeling like nervous about it, and
Right.
also like not being like the best at it in the beginning. Like of course you're gonna feel nervous and like awkward and feel like you're not good enough because you've never done it before, right? But I love that you just kind of like put yourself out there and you were creative too, like you said. I know there are a couple other people who have done a podcast, but I don't think they were like consistent with it.
Right.
So like this is it's so good because you're going to like just help other people go outside their comfort zone too, like coming on the podcast. Like for me, this is such a big deal coming on here and talking to you because like I talked to you about like, well, not you, but on my one of my posts I talked about like having social anxiety, right? And so this I know all about the nerves of like putting yourself out there and like talking and stuff like that. And so by you having the podcast, not only do you have like allow people to like share their story, but also like grow themselves, right? Because I think a lot of people are uncomfortable coming on
Right.
podcasts. I feel like this will like transform into like something for you, even if it doesn't stay as a podcast. I feel
Hmm.
like from just all the conversations, like you're bound to like grow and give back to everybody in the community. So I think it's really beautiful. It's just so good to like surround yourself with people too that like are like pushing themselves out their comfort zone. So I hope that like it takes you wherever you want it to take you and that it like brings purpose to your life.
I appreciate that because I never looked at it like that. Like, I mean, maybe this podcast won't go nowhere, but the fact that you said that it's a possibility that it might take me to something else, like it, and it also like how the jump rope thing. Like when I started jump rope, I never thought like I was gonna connect with people
Yeah.
outside of the U.S. or overseas. Uh, I didn't think that like, and I'm not even gonna say I didn't think I wasn't. thinking about anything about having a sponsorship like that.
Hmm.
So, somebody called me. And so, when all that came around, and I'm just getting good at the craft of jump roping, and like, and potentially like almost self teaching myself, and then helping others, and then from that, just like okay, doing jump rope and helping people. Then to this podcast, like I never thought about it. Like wasn't a set
Yeah.
plan. And
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of things when you start something, how it can lead to something else, almost
Exactly.
totally different, or how it just stemmed to something different, but also connected to what you started with.
Yeah. And also not like, this is like one of the greatest lessons I feel like I've learned too, is like often in your life, in your current present moment, everything feels confusing. Like you're like, I don't know what the, like I don't know where this is going, right? But
Right.
like you just said, like when you started jump rope, you would have never imagined that you would have been the best, or that you would have been an ambassador, right? For
Right.
Rush. I know you're a Rush ambassador, right? Which is like right now. So it's like when you actually remember, like, wow, this actually worked out for me. Like, even though way back then, I was confused for like 2 years about like like what my future is going to look like. It's like when you are in that moment now that like you are confused, it's like, just remember, oh, dude, I was like there, I was like lost and confused 2 years ago. And now I have a podcast. So like, what does that mean that's going to happen in 2 years from now? Like, of course, if you keep that like growth mindset, like it's just
Mm-hmm.
bound to just grow, grow into something. Yeah. I'm so like, just, yeah.
This been the best. I don't want to keep you long. Is there
Mhm.
anything that you would like to say to the community? That evidently I know you would say it on your own post, but anything you want to put out
Yeah.
there, any positive vibes?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you guys are new to, I think I'd speak mostly to the people who are new to jump rope, like, um, I feel like my biggest piece of advice would just be like, use people as inspiration of like what you can achieve, but try not to like compare yourself with everybody else's progress. Is just like focus on like your own progress and having fun, and just like taking it easy on yourself and being proud of yourself for like just showing up and messing up, and you know trying to learn new tricks. I feel like is just so rewarding when you're just like, man, I showed up today and I got one cross, and yesterday I wasn't able to do any crosses, or maybe you didn't even do one cross, but the fact that you showed up and you messed up 100 million times, I promise you, in a week or two or three, eventually you're gonna like get that cross. So just like, don't give up. And that applies to any trick. Like, no matter how hard you think it is, you can do it. It's just about, in your mind, you have to know that like it's gonna take a lot of messing up before you get there. And it's gonna take a different amount of time before you get there compared to what other people are, like how long it's taking other people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And just like have fun with it. Yeah. And also, Larry, thank you for having me on here, because it was just like so nice to chat with you and like have like a personal convo off of Instagram.
I appreciate you doing this for me, doing this for yourself, doing it for the community. Uh, Man, I learned so much, and
Aw,
I'm just soaking it all in because I don't know. I just highly appreciate this.
me too, honestly. This is really powerful. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. So thank you.
All right, peep. There you have it. L.R. Player, Mona.Jumps. Um, this one right here is a must see. This one right here is a must repeat. Can you please drop Mona Jump some love in the comments below? Let her know how awesome she is. Let her know how loved she is, and just
Oh,
stay tuned and like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff that we do, and just stay tuned to the next one. So, Moni, want to tell the people peace?
thank you so
All
much.
right, peace, people.
Okay, bye everyone.